everybody, I just wanted to do a bit of a quick update today. I kind of told myself that I was going to take the month of July off after last year after doing it, because I really did quite enjoy it, and I am going to kind of slow down, but because my spring, I kind of slowed down in my hobbying a bit, and I feel like I already have taken some time off, and I'm really wanting to get some things done in between vacations. So I guess I was away last week and doing the family thing, and I will be away in the beginning of August too, but I'm likely going to try to get some painting done from now until then, and I'll probably throw a video up here and there just to sort of keep things going and moving along. I thought I'd do a little bit of an update today on both what I'm working on at the moment as well as projects that are going to be coming up right afterwards, and a little bit of news just on some things I said I was going to do that I'm not going to now, and what I'm replacing it with, just things like that. So one of the things that I am kind of working on right now is I'm putting base paint on my the rest of my DBA elements for my India army, and so I'm working mostly on the cavalry right now. It's still early days. It's kind of hard to see because I've just put my first coat of base paint on, but I'm doing my cavalry primary color purple, although the saddle and many of the other things like the shields and things, they're all going to have other colors as well. They're going to be colorful like the other guys that I've done. I have chosen a little bit on how to do my horses. I'm kind of doing most of them a fairly typical brown. I'm doing a smattering of them with a lighter color, not white per se. They're a bit more of a cream color. And then in addition to that, I'm also doing some of them as like a darker brown as well. So yeah, you can see these are the three different colors, but then that particular base has one of each, but really for the most part the dominant one is this sort of typical brown. Now I'll be doing some highlights on those as well and some washes and stuff. I have a chariot too. So most of these guys right now are the Old Glory, but these are the last of the minifigs, these and the elephants. So I've done the chariot with the same four sort of colors that I'm using for the horses. And then, I don't know if I've showed this yet, to be honest. I don't think I have. I'm not sure if I've shown what I've done thus far, but I'm starting to paint this up as well. And these toothpicks are going to be trees, essentially. I'm going to paint them dark later and put just some foliage, some like foam flock on them and turn them into trees. Then I'll have some bushes and things and make this look kind of like a jungle. I'm thinking what I'm going to do for the statue is actually paint it metallic and make it sort of like a brass or bronze sort of idol. And maybe I'll make this area in the bottom with the skulls that the base it's sitting on like stone, like the rest of the stone. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing with that. I still have to work on my elephants. I've got some skin. I've not gotten very far with these at all. I'll probably do these last. So yeah, that'll be what I'm going to be doing over the next little bit. That's going to be the project that I want to complete before starting other things. So I have I'm going to do like an actual unboxing video of everything that I've gotten and talk more in depth about it. But I talked in the past about doing a new project. That I have a new project coming up, something I've been planning on doing for a while. Now, the particular project that I'm going to be doing is a sort of small world. I don't know if I should call it small world, but it's a fantasy project, and it's not typical, for a fantasy project that I would work on as far as the fictional stuff. And it's one of the reasons why I was really interested in it. Now, what I got in the mail recently, with many other things, is this, and this is Twilight or Chronicles of Anya. Just before any of you ask, this Twilight has no relation to teenagers and werewolves or vampires or anything to do with the Twilight series. I've already sort of asked about that when I was first introduced with it. But even so, the logo should show you that it really doesn't look like that. It's a very interesting sort of logo, actually, if you ask me. It's kind of cool. Really beautiful artwork. I'm going to go, like I said, I'm going to go into this more later, but Tristan over at Athlith, Sergeant Tristan, he introduced me initially to this game because he did a really cool video on his entering into this sort of world and of gaming. And as well, Derek Kinsman is quite involved with Twilight, is sort of isn't quite involved on the Facebook page and actually with some of the website stuff for the company that does this. Now, I'll talk more about it later, but this is very much, having said that, still like a creation of one individual over quite a long period of time. It's very much a labor of love, this game. And I really love the imagery and the miniatures, and I'm going to just sort of hold out and let you wait for that. If you have, you can look yourself on their websites, but I'm going to show that in the next video. Miniatures are beautiful, very original, but the thing that sealed it for me is that when I looked at the mechanics of the game, it looked like something different than anything else I play. And so it really felt like it could fit a niche and provide a different gaming experience than anything else I play. And that's why once I saw all of that, what happened was you very rarely will see anything on eBay for this game. Like, people tend not to resell their stuff on it. But there was one person that sold 2 sizable lots of unpainted miniatures, assembled but not painted. They're metal miniatures, really nice quality miniatures, and they had 2 factions, the original 2 factions, and they had quite a lot of miniatures for a really good deal. And I was kind of looking into this, watching Tristan's video, and I said, I can't pass this up. I just got to do this. And so I've had these miniatures for a year, like really just a little under a year, and I just put them on the shelf, literally, and just kept going about my business and said, this will be something I'll do. And what I ended up doing is, recently I ended up buying a lot of the game components in the game and the rules and all of that stuff, which I'll show, to be able to play the game. So, more on this later. I will do an actual dedicated video soon on Twilight. Now, I have props to be able to talk about other things that are coming up on the channel, just because I tend to be kind of scatterbrained, and I just will forget about stuff to tell you guys. And so, I've got my miniature that I have said I was going to paint. I still haven't yet. And so, but this is a prop today, because I am going to paint this, but and do what I said. But I am not, and you're going to wonder how I am jumping to this, but I'm not doing Adeptus Titanicus like I said I was going to. And it's related to this. I had like a Heresy Hump Day where I talked about it, and then recently again I talked about it, and I said I'm definitely doing it, and I was really excited, looking forward to it. And I have to say, I really think it's going to be a great game. I think it's probably the one game that's coming out by GW right now that I could like eventually say, oh, I wished I got into that, or something to that effect. Like, I think it'll be very cool, and I am excited to see how it comes out. I know that in order to get into the game, I was going to have to drop a couple of £100, probably close to that. So, likely that will translate into a lot of Canadian dollars. And honestly, it's not really about the money, because I was prepared to do that, and I am going to spend what I was preparing to do on something else that I'll come up to instead. But I thought about it, and there were 2 to 3 main reasons why I decided not to do it. One of them, right up front, was I have a lot of stuff to paint. Like, I've got Saga stuff that I want to do, and I have other projects that I'm showing in front of you. And whenever I get into something big, it always makes me think, well, how long is this going to sit before I finish my current stuff? And sometimes that's just fine. Like, obviously, I just had these Twilight miniatures for a year. But I thought about what I was getting, and I kind of saw it, and I thought, well, if I get the big box, which what I was planning on doing, I'm going to get like 20 plastic sprues, of stuff to put together. And it's not that I don't like working with plastic, and to some degree I do, and but I prefer working with metal miniatures, and I was thinking about, for like all of that money, like what I was getting and what I could get instead for that amount of money. And I thought, I'm just really not that excited to build and paint all that stuff. And as much as the models look beautiful, I really love 40K, the universe, but at the end of the day, I was just kind of thinking, and then once I started thinking that way, I started thinking, I just kind of also wondered whether I was just going to get kind of caught on a train of the way GW typically does their games, which I haven't been having that much fun with lately. And so in the end, I just said, you know what, I'm just not going to do it. Now, the thing that made me just finally say I'm not going to is that I thought, well, what is it that I really want to do with my gaming? If I'm not going to do this, what are the things I'm really enjoying? And I've talked about this a ton on the channel. Like, you guys know, that watch my channel regularly, the games that I consider my core games. But there's one in particular that I bought into, and to some degree I got given for free because I won a contest, and Mike over at Cruel Angelicilis I had won one of his contests, and it was awesome. I was able to actually get the sharp practice rules and a lot of the game components. I've played it some, but one of my friends that was really into it at the time, who I got into the game with at the same time, he is kind of moved, and he's not gaming and stuff, and so I have folks that I can potentially play it with, but also, I really, with all the miniatures I have for Musket and Tomahawks, I probably only have enough for a smaller size 4s for the French for Sharp's practice, because it does require more miniatures. And so I always wanted to get more miniatures for both sides if I was going to get into it. And so I was kind of thinking, I really want to play Sharp practice. I have this game, I loved it, and I'm not playing it, and I'm jumping over from one thing to the next and just buying more stuff. And so I said, you know what? I think Adeptus Titanicus is going to be really cool. I had a hard time getting that out, but but I think that I would probably rather get a boatload of Minden miniatures for Sharp practice and actually just focus on that. And so in the meantime, I've got a piece of terrain coming that I purchased that is something that I've really always wanted and I didn't realize existed now, by a company that I'd never seen before. And so I'll be reviewing another terrain piece for French Indian War that I'll be using for Musket and Tomahawks and Sharp practice. And this fall, I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of French Indian War painting. And I'll be unboxing, I'm pretty soon going to be ordering a bunch of stuff from Minden Miniatures. I have, as many of you may know, I have a mixture of Minden Miniatures and the Conquest line of miniatures that Warlord has for French Indian War. I really like my natives for the Conquest line. I've not always been as crazy about my my Conquest stuff, particularly for my British. It's done the job. They're nice miniatures, don't get me wrong, but I've preferred my Minden stuff. It's just my personal taste on that. It's all it is. And so what I decided is I'd really like to kind of get a lot more Minden miniatures, for both British regulars and French regulars and many of the other components of my French Indian War gaming. And so I'm just going to just get a bunch of stuff from Minden and spend the money that I was going to spend on Adeptus Titanicus on that. And I think I'll enjoy that more. And so that's my long rant about that. I hope that didn't bore you guys too much. I feel like I'm making excuses sometimes, but it's just kind of funny. Aside from that, and the fact that I'll be painting this guy soon on camera, I've got this Eldar, Rogue Trader Eldar Dreadnought here. And the reason I have that is Rusty over at Helcorex and I have been talking about doing another Old Hammer painting month, in challenge. And I really enjoyed the last one that we did I think it was November. It was end of October, beginning of November. And I did that through my channel last time, and Rusty and I have been talking about it. We do the Musty Wargamers show, And we haven't discussed like how we're going to do it, but I'm almost thinking, like, Rusty's hearing this just now, like we're both planning this September doing another one, but I think I'd rather just do it through the Musty Wargamers, since we're both kind of dedicated to doing it. Like, it'll maybe be like, I don't think he'll be opposed to this by any means. Anyway, like, we're both planning on doing this, so I think it'll be like a Musty Wargamers Old Hammer painting thing. And, you know, we'll announce more about it later. Like, we're both going to be doing Eldar, but I can't imagine that we're going to mind if anybody else is doing any other Old Hammer stuff. And so we'll talk more about it when we have the details on that. But the reason I wanted to bring it up is, and not announce it, because I'm not announcing it now so much, like the details of it, but we're going to be doing more of the Old Hammer painting challenges. And I thought, like, what am I going to use my Rogue Trader stuff for, like, as far as gaming? Like, I know of games that I can use my fantasy stuff, my old Citadel fantasy stuff for, but I struggle a little more about what I'm going to use it for. Well, you might say, just what about Rogue Trader? And I am going to try the Rogue Trader rules, but for something kind of light, sort of like the Dragon Rampant, you know, version of playing some 40k. I was talking to a gaming buddy recently. We were texting, and I'd said, hey, you know, In Her Majesty's Name's really a good game. I enjoyed playing it for like a small skirmish game. And I said, you know, we should consider trying to adapt that, you know, to 40k. And, you know, he hadn't played it much, you know, like I don't think he knows whether he's played it at all. And so he was like, oh, okay, possibly, you know. And so I started researching it myself, and what I found out was, and I never knew about this, but I guess before there was an In Her Majesty's Name, there was in the name of the Emperor, in the Emperor's name, and it was actually a 40k based game on the same rule set that eventually became In Her Majesty's Name. So it's not based on GW; it's a non-GW rule set. Sort of small skirmish. It has campaigns and lists and everything. But it's sort of like, kind of like a kill team kind of thing where you're using a lower model count. But they have lots of available, what they call retinues, you know, which are essentially your warbands or your factions. And so I'm going to explore that, because I already know that I like In Her Majesty's Name. I found it fun. And I think I'm going to, when we do it's a free rule set. I should have mentioned that. It's free download on the internet. It's actually on its 3rd edition, and yeah, like I think it looks like it could be fun just to play some quick skirmish games with my old models for 40k. And so I'll be yeah, I'm gonna go over later what I'm gonna be painting up. I will be painting up at least. I have 2 of these old dreadnoughts assembled. I'm gonna be painting 1 or 2 of those with a bunch of other models for the Old Hammer painting month for Eldar. And so yeah, I'll go into more of that later. So I don't know how much I've rambled on here now. I feel like today's been quite a bit of a ramble, but I hope everybody's summer's going real well. You know, we had Canada Day here. You know, there's been 4th of July in the U.S. since last signing on. I basically worked Canada Day weekend and then had a little less than a week off to do the family stuff, to travel and things. And so I've been kind of busy and right back to work afterwards. So like I said, I'll pop up another video in the near future, and hope everyone's having a good one. Take care.